Okay.
All right,
Oh,
what's up? Oh,
1 second.
yeah.
Uh, you have to re-record. Do you want me to have earphones in as opposed to me talking through just my computer speaker?
Oh, it doesn't matter. I can hear you
How's
fine.
the sound quality? You can hear me fine? Okay.
Yep.
I probably just wrecked your recording.
No, I'll just take the beginning off.
Okay.
It's not a big deal.
All right. Let's
Yeah.
go again.
All right. All right, guys. Welcome back to the Growth by Shawn podcast. We have a return guest, Jenn Broxterman from episode 90 coming on. So, a little bit about where me and Jenn have left off since Jenn has been on the podcast last. I have taken her liftoff course. We have met in person in Virginia. There was a lot of cool things that we have done together. And Jenn, I just want to, instead of like that brief elevator pitch of a little bit about you that you had given us last time, why don't you just tell us a little bit more about the liftoff course that I took? Because this was something that I was able to get a lot of value from. And I know that all of the coaches or small business owners that listen to this is where I would love to start and then branch a conversation from there.
Cool. Yeah. So I'm a registered dietitian. I've been in the CrossFit space since 2006. My husband and I co-owned a CrossFit box. And essentially, I just kind of cracked the code on delivering an amazing nutrition program inside of our facility that grew to multi six figures per year. And I wanted to go and share some of the lessons and games and coaching resources and analogies that I've used that have made me so successful. So I created a free nutrition masterclass. And one of the favorite units that I snuck in there is how to get more clients without spending money on paid ads. Because I know what it's like to be strapped for cash, always wondering at the end of the month, is there enough left over to pay yourself if you're a solopreneur or if you operate a facility? So I just wanted to share some of the, tricks of the trade and lift, go behind the curtains so other coaches could benefit from that too.
Yeah, it's definitely something that I would recommend to a lot of people. It's not this is not the show. We're just like giving away everything for free from what Jenn is doing. But it's something that I at least wanted to bring up because from the last time we spoke to this time we spoke, I know it's made a big difference for me. So what we're going to dive into today is a lot about sales and money, because this is what the majority of coaches listening to this struggle with and want more of. As more clients
Right.
come in, you get more money. So, Jenn, you're a sales expert, okay? And why don't you just give us a little bit of knowledge around what the intake process looks like for you? That way we can really have like a beginning to end timeline of what it looks like to work with you and why people aren't getting the kinds of sales that they want.
Yeah. So, my gosh, I've probably made every mistake in the book over the last 13, 14 years, but I have learned so much. So, first and foremost, I want to start with some mindset components to sales. You almost, for those coaches that are afraid of sales, they don't want to feel salesy, I want to instead plant the word impact. You have to talk about what you do if you want to have an impact on other people's lives. If you want to contribute to better eating habits, better fitness, better healthy lifestyles, less obesity and disease, impact is what you're looking to accomplish as a coach. And so I learned this amazing marketing metaphor from his name is John Goodman. And essentially, he breaks down marketing into two things. Number one, do a really good job at what you do. Number two, do a really good job making sure everyone knows about you. And I would argue, and I was one of these coaches, that I did number one. I did a really good job. I really cared about my client, got them amazing results. I struggled in my early years to talk about what I was doing. So again, to recap, do a really good job, care about your clients, get them the results that you promised. Number two, do a really good job talking about what you do. Does that make sense? And can you maybe even relate to that a little bit, Shawn?
Yes. So far, the biggest disconnect that I have found with myself and other coaches that I've even worked with is exactly what you said with the second part of we don't want to talk about our services because we feel salesy in a sense.
Icky.
Yeah,
Yes.
you feel icky. Yes.
Here's the non-icky way to do it. So my funny little brain thinks of analogies and metaphors. So I had this shift a few years ago where I learned it actually from Seth Godin. And for those that have read marketing books, you've heard of Seth Godin before. And what I really picked up is the idea. I don't even know if he uses these words. I think my weird brain changed it. I call it rubber duckies and satellite. So imagine a rubber ducky gets thrown into a river and it starts floating down the river and it goes over a waterfall. That's what I think of social media is we throw up a post, it's in the feed for however long, and then it goes over the waterfall and it floats away. And coaches, you have to just keep regularly throwing rubber duckies into the river so that it starts to go through people's social media feeds. Now, what are rubber ducky posts? They don't have to be super salesy. I always think about rubber ducky posts in a couple of ways. One of my favorites is what I call a role model post, showing myself, not in a preachy way, just in a human, realistic, I'm approachable, but I walk the talk way about this is what nutrition coaching looks like, or this is what nutrition looks like in real life. So I might chop up a veggie bucket, which is land I put in liftoff. And then I just take a little picture of me holding the veggie bucket on a Sunday. And I might have messy hair and I haven't brushed it yet. And I'm in Sunday morning sweats, but that's okay. That's like real nutrition in real life. I'm not showing the perfect curated bodybuilder, 17 meals of containers weighed and perfectly measured out because I'm not doing that in real life. I might show a post-workout picture of me smiling at the gym and talking about something that my mental health feels so good because I've been so consistent, or proud of how a lift went, or even sharing that, post-COVID, my fitness capacity is lower, but I'm really proud that I still showed up and I just went at the pace my body could go that day. So I'm narrating health and fitness in real time. And those are what I call role model rubber ducky posts. And they're great because they catch people's eye. And what you have to remember in the social media world is humans do a lot of do you know a guy? Do you know a girl? Do you know someone that fixes cars? Do you know someone that is a real estate agent in my area? Do you know a plumber? Does anyone know a good, right? You want to be top of mind for your followers that when someone goes, do you know someone who, they're like, yes, I absolutely know someone. They talk about this all the time. They post about this all the time. I know they help people with this problem. So that's what those rubber ducky posts are doing when you role model. That's just one kind of rubber ducky. Another kind of rubber ducky is you want to show off your clients. This is in marketing known as social proof. You want to show photos. You want to celebrate wins. You might want to show DMs. Always ask permission when you do social proof. Maybe you demo, but you scratch out their face because they don't want their face, or their head is cut off, for example. Maybe you do a text message, but don't give away their phone number or their email address, to the public at large. So always ask permission first. But people who follow you, who might buy your services, what you need to do is answer the question, why should I trust you? Why should I hire you? And what social proof does is it goes, oh, people just like me trusted and got results from someone like him or someone like her or someone like them. So that's exactly what social proof is doing, is be like, oh yeah, middle-aged people who are busy with kids and working professionals can get results. I'm not broken. Other people this is going to possibly work for someone like me. It's just like reading an Amazon review before you buy. You're trying to decrease the risk that you could make a mistake and spend a lot of money and get scammed. So those are a couple of rubber duckies of role model and social proof your clients. And then I'd say another class of rubber duckies is to teach and to educate. So you might throw up a post about maybe drinking less alcohol. You might throw up a post around adding more veggies. You might throw up a post about how to get more protein in at your breakfast. You might throw up a recipe for a healthy smoothie or a healthy crock pot slow cooker meal or air fryer. So those work too. But the ones I think that do the best aren't the ones that are overly pretty in Canva and feel very corporate. They're the ones with human faces. Humans like looking at other humans. And that's why I would argue that the role modeling and the social proof do especially well. So I see a lot of coaches put so much effort into the teach recipes, very instructional, very educational. And those ones are actually my lowest converting rubber ducky posts. It's the ones where I demo it or I show my clients doing it in real life. Those are the ones that bring in leads. And then this last piece is so simple, but so forgotten. It's something called a CTA, a call to action. At the end of your post, make it clear what they can do if they want to work with you. Hey, if this is catching you right place, right time, I love helping busy working professionals, have better eating habits without having to follow a macro-based meal plan. If that interests you, here's how to get in touch with me. And so many people put these great posts out and then they never tell people, here's how you come into my world where I can help you. Does that all make sense around the rubber duckies?
Yeah, that all makes sense. So with something like a call to action, how to work with someone, well, first off, let me backtrack just for a second. The biggest thing that I got out of that is building trust with someone.
Right.
For someone that doesn't have as much social proof and isn't like, for myself, I find that people start to trust me more when I get the results myself and I'm the walking embodiment
You're role
of,
modeling the
yes,
post. That's a role
yes,
model rubber ducky.
yes. So how can someone, when they're first getting into coaching, who isn't at that level, start to get clients that they're maybe just a step or two ahead?
You nailed it right on the head by saying that. You just have to be 1 to 2 steps ahead. So I got this actually from Alex Hormozi. Love him or hate him. Many people are aware of Alex Hormozi and his marketing advice. And he said a small tweak he made that made a huge difference was to go, especially if you're new, from this is what you should do, and instead create a post of this is what I'm doing. Because no one can debate this is what you're doing for your workouts. This is what you're doing for your nutrition. This is what you're doing for your stress management. And so you're just role modeling of this is what I'm doing to try to live a healthy lifestyle. I think the credibility and the trust, there's a little bit more mistrust when you start to go, I'm an expert. This is what you should do. And it's not backed with tons and tons of social proof. That this is what you should do is more effective when you've got the social proof backing. So to answer your question, for those newer coaches, you just have to be a step or two ahead and go, I'm on this transformational journey. This is what I'm doing. And then no one can argue with your role modeling because that's your lived experience of what you're doing.
Now that we've built a little bit of social proof, we understand that we need to embody like our personal transformation that we're taking the client through. Once someone does start to trust you and is interested in your program, what does that next step in booking a sales call with you look like? And what are you attempting to get out of this person when you get on the phone with them?
Yeah. So the very first thing we want to do is I want to give a little bit of a framework, and I'm going to talk about emotion into logic. People need to buy with emotion, but they also need to back up that emotion with logic before they're willing to hand over their hard-earned money, their time, their effort. So the emotional part of the call is actually more in the beginning. And what you want to do is you want to just start by asking questions. And so I'm going to pull up a few of my favorite questions I like to lead with. I don't get right into like, these are my packages, these are my prices, this is how it works. Actually, as I'm teaching my team and admin assistants and teaching them these sales skills, I was like, oh, I better build a framework because I've done it for so many years so naturally. I videotaped myself on a number of sales calls and I watched myself back to be like, ooh, what am I doing? Because you forget when it's second nature. And I was like, I got to teach this to someone else. So I better study myself. And I realized I did 3 things every single sales call. Number 1 is I always begin with questions and the emotional framework. So I'll go into what those questions are, but basically know that part 1 of the framework is ask a lot of questions and get into the why and start to pull on those emotional threads, those emotional strings. Then I remember I said we go from emotion to logic. The second people need to go is like, what am I actually buying from you? Like, what are the logistics? Does this make sense? And they have to make sure that emotionally they're primed to order to see the logistical value. Finally, what I do at the end of every sales call is the call to action, the CTA. And I go, okay, let's do this. And I'll go through part by part so you can feel and experience the transition of the sales call. So if say you inquired, you came in through email, the phone, a DM, whatever, and you started to inquire about my services. What I would try to do is get you on a call or maybe have you come in. I'm also going to go through some high level stuff. So I'm now so busy. I get hundreds of inquiries per month, more than I can actually work with. I actually now do this as a either video to the client, and I use Loom and I videotape myself. It's basically a one-way conversation, but I do the emotional priming. I can get in their head. I know how my avatar thinks. Then I go through the logistics, and then I do the call to action at the end of the video or an audio message. And I'm like, hey, if you like the sounds of this, let's do this. I'm going to attach my booking links. Feel free to hop in my calendar. And that's how you can jump right in and get started in a nutrition package with us. But whether like when you're newer, you have to still do it with a real person, whether it's on the phone or in person. I'm just so lucky now that I have such credibility and authority in my space that I get like 100+ inquiries per month, more people than I know what to do and how to work with. I just made it more of a sales machine where it's really, really efficient. But I'll go through for more of a beginner. So I might kick it off of like, how's it going? What's the highlight of your day so far? Just something light, easy, kind of, break the ice. And then I really like to sort of like clarify the point of the conversation. So I might say something along the lines of, my job is really simple today. I just want to ask you a few questions just to see if we're a good fit and if I can really help and serve you. And if I can't, no worries. What I'm going to do is my best to point you in the right direction. So either way, I want to make sure you get help and support. And, if you do feel like it's a good fit, what I'll do is I'll share a little bit more info about some of the programs that I offer. And then we can talk about, if you want to jump in, what that next step would look like. Does that sound good? So I'm just setting a little overview of like, hey, this is what's going to happen. I want to just start by asking some questions. I really want to make sure you feel like it's a good fit for you. And if it's not, I promise I'm not here to like sell you on something you don't need. I'll do my very best to direct you where you can get the support at the right level. How does that sound for today? And if it does sound like a good fit, we'll talk about what it would look like to move forward. Cool? So very safe, like giving them the power to be like, yeah, I like the sounds of where this is going to go. So my opening question is, I want to start to pinpoint where their source of pain is the greatest. So I might say, tell me a little bit more about what you're struggling with right now. Is it around your workouts, your nutrition? Is it accountability? Or is it sort of a little bit of everything? Fill me in. So again, I'm talking. So again, a basket, right? Is it workouts? Is it nutrition? Is it accountability, motivation? Where do you feel like the biggest, bottleneck is at the moment? Where are you struggling the most? Fill me in. And then they'll just start talking, right? They're going to start to tell you a bit of an answer. So I'll have you role play a little bit, but what are some common things you hear your clients say to you when they first reach out?
That they struggle with consistency. That's the biggest thing. They don't really know what to eat because there's so many different things out there.
Gotcha. So and I would go off of you. So what I'm hearing is it's almost very overwhelming. Like there's a lot of information coming at you online. And at this point, your head's just spinning. Do I do carnivore? Should I go Mediterranean? Do I do paleo? Should I intermittent fast? Like just, is that hitting the nail on the head? Just a lot of overwhelm of what is the right next step. And it just feels very confusing overall.
Yep.
Yeah, cool. Thanks for sharing that. So I guess my follow-up question would be, what impact is that? How is that showing up in your food choices? Like if you were to sort of walk me through your day-to-day right now with food, how is food feeling overall? What is food looking like for you?
It just feels a little bit more like a chore than anything. Like I'll eat pretty healthy during the day, but then by when the nighttime comes, I'm just a little bit more ravenous and unconscious about it.
Yeah. So like starting the day with these really good intentions, waking up, trying to be disciplined and making those good food choices. But by the time the stress and overwhelm and exhaustion of the end of the day kicks in, it's almost like this little like food gremlin shows up and suddenly wants to go have cookies or chips or get into the ice cream. And it's like, no, like I have these good intentions. And it's like you're battling two parts of yourself, the part of you that wants to be consistent and on track, and then the part of you that's just a real human that gets busy and stressed and tired and overwhelmed. And probably sounds like you're fighting some food cravings towards the end of the day. Does that feel accurate to you?
Yeah, that's accurate.
Yeah. And then I guess going a little bit deeper, is that affecting you in any other parts of your life? Like, is that affecting your weight or your self-confidence or your workouts if you're at the gym? Like, is it more than just food? Is it showing up in other places too?
My workouts feel fine, but I found my weight fluctuates more than I'd like. And I feel I want to lose a couple of pounds, but they just, as soon as I do, my weight creeps right back up.
Wow. That must be frustrating, I would imagine, right? Like all this hard work only to then lose it. And then you're like, oh, it's going the opposite way of what I want.
It just
Yeah.
goes, yeah, just I feel like I keep getting just back to the same point.
Gotcha. Does that at all affect anything around like your mental health, your self-talk, your confidence, how you feel in your clothes? Is it even kind of spilling into like your headspace at all?
Once yeah, I mostly with like the way my clothes fit. They'll start to fit really good, and then I'll have one of those nights where I eat more, and then the next couple of days, my clothes just feel a lot snugger than they did. And
Mm-hmm.
then it's just this repeating cycle throughout the week.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to kind of go out of like question mode and I might ask a few
Mm-hmm.
more questions or not. But for you listeners, can you hear what Shawn really did for us? Is he kind of identified where his pain is the greatest, but also where his pain isn't that strong? So I could have pulled on the gym thread, but he's like, no, like my workouts are going fine. They're good. But I have discipline in like the earlier part of the day, and then that discipline starts to unravel. So I know more like evenings, nighttime is a harder time of day for Shawn. It's not like he's waking up and having like, oh, I get the drive-through breakfast sandwich and coffee and donut every day. So
Mm-hmm.
he's told me the time of day he has more struggle. He told me about like working really hard and then backsliding. He hinted a little bit about clothes fitting a bit snugger. So he very honestly and openly started to give me some of his pain points. So now what I would do at this point in the sales call is I'm going to do what's called a recap or a summary of what I'm going to label the hell. Or if you don't like the word hell, just think pain points. So what I would do here is I'd go, wow. So what I'm really hearing are some things like you have good intentions, but then you get stuck and there's some backsliding. And at nighttime, especially, is like where it's especially difficult to follow through on the good intentions. And then when you do have a day or two that's more than what your body needs, you don't like feeling that uncomfortable feeling of clothes being snug, not getting the results as quickly as you want for how hard you're working. Um, is that resonating? Did I hear you correctly that all of that right now is probably where your greatest struggle is around food?
Yeah, that's what I think it all boils down to.
Right. So now what, like, me talking to the audience,
Mm-hmm.
what we're getting is there's an opportunity for you to either agree with me and or if I've gotten it wrong, I'm giving you an opportunity to correct me and go, oh, well, yeah, sort of, but this too that you didn't mention. So
Mm.
I'm letting Shawn really crystal clearly tell me a nice recap of his pain. And I'm trying to hit what I call hell words.
Mm-hmm.
So stuck, uncomfortable, clothes feel tight, backsliding, frustrated. So I'm trying to hit emotional words and do a nice little summary of all those emotional pieces. But I'm also still checking in with a question. Did that kind of capture where you are right now? And he's either going to
Mm-hmm.
say yes, or he's going to give me a yes, but, and then elaborate, or he's going to give me a no if I totally wasn't listening. But hopefully everyone is doing a good job listening as this conversation is happening.
Yep.
So this, for everyone's tracking, any questions
Mm-hmm.
so far where we are in the sales call?
Yeah. So far, we're good.
Okay, so the next thing I like to do is I label this the high five transition. And it's such a positive way to go from a low into the bright, better future. So the high five transition and you can do this actually in real life if you feel comfortable giving someone a high five, is I go, well, here's what I really want to commend you for and just thank you for calling me today or coming in to talk to me today. Is even though this feels frustrating, or for some people, this could feel like a rock bottom, You know what you're not doing? You're not on the couch right now eating a bag of potato chips, watching Netflix and going, well, why bother? I'm too far gone. I'm too broken. There's nothing I can do about this. You're here today, being real with me, being vulnerable with me. You're here because you want to get better. And I also see a real long pattern of you working on yourself. You're someone that doesn't give up on his goals. You're someone that is truly committed to the long-term process of taking good care of his health. Can I just give you a high five right now and just sort of say thanks for being here and thanks for having this conversation with me? Like, I get so excited to talk to people just like you. And then I like legit do a real high five, or on video, I would like do a video high five, like, Shawn, like, good job that we're having this conversation right now. So, you know what? This is a really good point to maybe ask another follow-up question. I want to look ahead to the next, say, 6 months to a year. If, say, we could go into the future, and I like to call this Netflix season 2, like, just skip ahead a season. Where would you love to see yourself, say, 6 months down the road? How do you think it would feel to really take back control of your health, your fitness, your eating habits, and not just have a good half of the day where it clicks, but imagine day after day, those evening times aren't so much of a struggle. You've got a coach in your corner who's supporting you. Go into that picture for me. What do you see? Who's the version of Shawn you're working so hard to become? Paint me a little picture of that man. I want to hear more about him.
If I was that, like, that version, it would be, I would be able to go and like fit into a medium shirt and not have to so much like cover up and wear a sweatshirt as much. I think going out would be a little bit easier. So all of those, like, those are my biggest things that I want to get to in terms of like where I see myself.
Oh, that's amazing, Shawn. So, I'm really hearing a man that is comfortable and confident in his own skin. He easily fits in that medium. He knows every time he's going to, check out an order, medium it is, no more larges. Doesn't have to feel self-conscious maybe about his stomach or another part of your body. And just that confidence to be social, to go out, you're taking care of your workouts, your food, your mindset, your sleep, your self-care. So you have that room for those little bits of fun, but mostly as a person that feels comfortable and confident in his own skin.
That's 100. Yeah, that's definitely where I want to get to.
That is amazing. That is exactly what I love that I'm not hearing is I don't hear someone that's asking for a quick fix, wants to be put on medications for the easy way out. You sound like you're someone that is truly committed to a healthy lifestyle and living these values in your fitness, your food, your self-care, your stress management. And you know what? Those are the clients I serve the best. If you had kind of come to me today and you're like, I want to, how do I lose 20 pounds in a month before the new year? I'm going on a cruise. I would be really honest with you and say, we're probably not a good fit. So I'm going to get out of coach Jenn here. What I'm doing is I'm showing the alignment of like, I coach clients like you. I don't coach clients like that. Right. You could be a bodybuilder who only wants to work with bodybuilders and be honest. Like, hey, if you were like an overweight mom that, just right, you might like do the opposite story, but I'm trying to, again, show alignment to Shawn. And what Shawn is subtly doing is he's nodding his head. What he's doing is he's like, yes, that's me. You're the coach for me. How do you feel right now in this part of our like sales call?
Yeah, this has made it like, it makes it easy for me to look at all of the things that aren't like at the top of my mind always, like the things that I deal with, but and perhaps the reason that I reached out, but it wasn't what I was like, this is why I'm doing it. More at the top of my head from the beginning of the sales call was, I just want to get consistent. And then it turned into, well, this is what I want my life to look like.
Right. So now we're painting the heaven. So to recap, we're going to go through the process again. We started with curious questions, giving them a little basket of, is it nutrition? Is it fitness? Is it consistency, motivation? Where do you feel like you're struggling with the most? Let him start to talk. Then I started to ask clarifying questions and I just went deeper into the pain. Then I did a recap. So it sounds like, or what I'm hearing is you're feeling this and this and this, and this is a struggle. Is that resonating? Did I get that right?
Yeah.
Cool. High five transition. Well, you know what? I just want to really thank you for being here today and being on this phone call or being here in person. this could be you just giving up, being like, well, I'm too far gone. I'm getting too old. My metabolism's too slow. Might as well just give in and eat chips and sit on the couch. No, I don't see a person that's like that. What I see, and now I'm speaking to your positive self before I ask you to describe him, I see someone who is committed, who won't give up, who does care about doing this the right way. So you know what? That leads me to a great next question, the future question. If we could look ahead 6 months to a year, where would you love to see yourself? Really paint me the picture of that version of Shawn. I've been in your life as a team member, really supporting you. You've been crushing your workouts, your food, your self-care. What does that version of you look like? Describe. Then you do another recap. And I basically recapped that version of Shawn to you. So now we're done the emotional priming. So this is part 1 of 3 of the sales call. So then I might go, well, you know what? You actually are a truly perfect fit for exactly the clients I'm best at serving. And I would be really honest with you if you weren't the right fit. And that's where I was like, if you were asking for the quick fix, Ozempic, just give me the medication. I don't want to do anything. I would be really honest that I'm not going to be a good fit for you. So can I tell you a little bit more details about my approach, my style, my packages, and see if one of them could be a good option for you?
Yeah, that works.
Cool. So now I'm asking permission to transition to the logistical part. So I basically try to coach off of 4 key pillars of behavior change, or 4 key pillars of self-care. So as a nutrition coach, my first pillar is, of course, healthy eating. I think it's so important for me to support the people I work with to just find a way to eat that is enjoyable, based around mostly whole foods. And I also really like to dive in and know that we're going to go there around emotional topics like stress eating, because a lot of the people I work with, they have the knowledge already. I know you're not stupid. I know protein and vegetables and things like that are good for you. The reality is the stress of real life can often interfere with that consistency component. So in my food part of the pillar package, I just want to really focus on something that's sustainable, enjoyable, very whole foods based. So you're getting all the nutrition your body needs, but we're also going to talk about non-food issues around like stress in life, because that can show up in food choices as well. So kind of pillar number 1 is all about food and the stuff that's around the food.
Yep.
Pillar number 2 is all about building really supportive environments. I use this phrase all the time with my clients. Can we help you make the healthy choice the easy choice? Because I'm a big believer that if we set your environment up for success, your fridge, your freezer, your pantry, your gym bag, like the more that your environment builds railroad tracks in the direction of where you want your healthy consistency to go, the more consistent you're going to be. So I am a big believer in looking at your environment under a magnifying glass and just, shaping it for success. Pillar number 3 is probably my favorite, and this is the mindset pillar. Everything that happens between our 2 ears is so important for changing our behaviors. So I think one of the things that sets me apart as a coach is I'm not just going to talk to you about food. I'm also going to explore things like your self-talk. We're going to look at some of those self-sabotaging thoughts like, screw it, I already blew it today. Or the whole, I'll start Monday, I'll start after the holidays, I'll start when things are less busy. Even the whole I deserve it can be a really sort of sneaky phrase of like, well, I've been working hard. I deserve the dessert. I deserve the takeout pizza. And instead, I want to help transform your mindset so it is curious and resilient and supportive and kind, but also honest, that you can have those hard conversations with yourself, no judgment, no shame, and just sort of objectively go, what's the best I can do in this moment? And hold yourself to a minimum standard. Not be perfect. You don't have to be perfect through this, but I'm going to hold you to a minimum standard so you can feel that consistency. And we're going to change your self-talk. Because if the identity piece doesn't get addressed, then the habits won't. The identity is the glue for those good habits. So we're going to do it all. We're going to do healthy new food habits. We're going to build environments, and we're going to work on the headspace, the mental health piece. And then lastly, I think the secret sauce is pillar number 4, which is accountability and support with a real human being. I don't just coach off an app where it's all pre-programmed and I'm never going to talk to you. I'm going to be in your life on the good days. I'm going to be in your life on the hard days. So on the days that you don't want to necessarily go get the right groceries, or you're feeling triggered and there's a week of cravings and stress eating, talk to me. I'm going to help you through that, because I think having a coach that genuinely knows who you are, understand what's going on in your life, understands when your busy, stressful periods are coming, so I can help you get a plan in place before you get to that, that stumbling block. That's the nice part about hiring a coach. You could do it on your own. The information's on the internet, but I think why my clients really get the results that they do is because I'm on this journey with them, and I'm going to climb the mountain until I get you to your top. And we get you in the size medium and fitting in those clothes comfortably and feeling so proud of your consistency. And just, again, comfortable and confident that you are the man you've set out to become, and you're living up to those values. So yeah, how are we on the right track? Does this resonate with what you're looking for in a nutrition and wellness coaching program? Because I know I'm not for everyone. So I really want to check in that this is something you think could be a good fit for you.
This definitely sounds like something that would help me in the areas that I'm looking for. So
that's amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, like logistics, here's how it would work if you did want to move forward. Pricing, I don't think I've mentioned that yet. So I have two options for this package. It starts as a 6-month long experience, because again, I want to make sure I'm with you a minimum of 6 months so I can really deliver those results we talked about. So I have a bit of a deal. If you decide to do the pay in full, pay up front, it is, X amount of dollars, and I do e-transfer or credit card. Or if you would prefer to just space it out over monthly installments, so you don't have to pay for it all at once, totally okay. This is the pay per month price. So you get a little bit of a price break to just buy it all up front, or we can just break it up so you can spread it over your paychecks. Which option feels like it would be a better fit for you?
The monthly for now.
Cool.
Yeah.
So here, let's do this. Why don't we get a time in the calendar so we can get started? Like, does this feel like a yes to you? It definitely is a yes on my end, but I don't ever want to push you into something you don't feel comfortable with. How are you feeling? Do you want to move forward with this?
Yeah, I can start next week.
Cool. Okay, I'm going to get my calendar open. Let's have your calendar open and let's go get a time right now. Boom, boom, boom. We schedule a time. Awesome. So here's what I'm going to do for next steps. You said you want to do the monthly. Let's get you set up for that. So then that way it will just start to deduct you once a month at that price. So we'd get a credit card, get that all set up. And then what I'm going to email is I'm going to send the new client paperwork. I wanted to keep it super simple and streamlined. So I'm just going to send 2 things your way. I'm going to send you a kind of 1-page health history form. It's just going to ask some questions more in detail around your goals, if you're taking any supplements, your exercise patterns, if you got any food allergies. I mean, I don't want to recommend shellfish and kill you if you're like severely allergic to crab or something like that. So take your time, fill that out. Just anything medical you want to bring to my attention. I just want to really individualize this. And I kind of joke that I'm a kind nerd. So I look at everything you write down, and I'm going to start to do some prep on my end of things so that I can come in really prepared when we get started next week. And then the second thing I'm going to send you is just a little 3-day food tracker. I want you to be normal Shawn. Don't make yourself look better. Don't try to hide things. Remember the curious, kind, honest. If you stress eat a scoop of peanut butter at 10 o'clock at night, I will not judge you. But if you can let me in and just sort of give me a snapshot into like a few days in the life of what food looks like for you, you're going to help me a ton. And that's going to really help us achieve what we set out to do. How does that sound as our 2 main takeaways from this call today? Do you think that's okay to do between now and when we get started next week?
Yeah, that's easy enough.
Awesome. So here's what I'll do. I'll go send that to you in an email. And then would it be convenient for you if I just typed up a little very quick summary? And then that way you've got all these little action steps in your inbox just to sort of start to check your way through between now and next week.
Yeah, that'd be helpful.
Perfect. Shawn, I am so excited to start with you. I think you've made a really great choice in your health for the long run. We are going to make magic happen. Like, I can't wait to get going.
Yeah. No, this was very, very helpful, Jen.
Yeah.
So,
whole framework. Emotional, start with questions, ask a lot of questions, do a high 5 transition, talk about the positive future, recap the emotional of how they're going to feel as their healthy self, then go, you sound like you're a perfect fit. Can I tell you a little bit more about the different programs that we have and what it costs? Cool. Here's how it is. Go through the framework of your program, get into pricing, this option. Does this feel in alignment? Would you like to move forward? Yes. Notice how I booked him for the appointment before I asked for money. So you've gotten deeper into the relationship because you've already put something on the calendar with me for next week before I asked for your credit card. Right? It's hard to be like, okay, pay now. Let's book it. No, it's let's book it. Okay, now let's sort out the payment.
Yeah.
And then here's the homework from our meeting today. I'm going to send you I'm explaining what I'm sending you. Would you like me to send you a little typed up recap so you've got everything in one place? So again, you can go home and be like, yes, this is what I committed to. And then I end it with a lot of excitement. I'm so pumped that we get to work together and we're going to go on this journey.
Yeah.
How are you feeling?
Yeah, this was are we still role playing here?
Yeah, no, yeah, just talking in general.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah.
How are you feeling after this call?
I think this is good. And this, especially for the audience, this is a real A to Z in terms of how to go and actually get a client and then what to do once you don't want to feel like that salesy type of person when you realize exactly what you said, you're looking to make more of an impact and then taking away that like salesy feeling and saying, hey, you know what? Can I actually help this person? Then all you have to do is actually deliver.
My heart in this conversation, in my fictitious, client of Shawn, all I thought about the entire time I was talking to you was how can I help Shawn get to that future version of him? I wasn't thinking about money. I wasn't thinking about, am I going to close? It's just like, can I genuinely help Shawn get everything he wants from himself? And I truly believe as a coach who cares about my clients, I can genuinely help you. And I checked that we had alignment because I said, this is my style of coaching. This is how I'm going to approach it with you. Is this also what you're looking for? Are we on the right path together? And if you had said like, no, that also would have been okay.
Yeah.
No, because in the beginning, I told you, I just want to help you find the person who can help you.
Yep. Jen, that's perfect. Can you just drop for us where we can find you and at least get on some type of wait list to work with you?
Yeah, so I own a nutrition certification for coaches where I literally teach you A to Z of how to nutrition coach, but also these complementary skills like selling, but without it feeling salesy. So a couple of places, if you just go to prospernutritioncoaching.com, there's nutrition certification info. We've got a wait list running. I do it in small groups, so you get lots of one-on-one attention. But I want to give a gift to the audience. If you want to go deeper into some skills around getting more clients, I have a totally free nutrition masterclass. And in it, it's very short and bite-sized. Shawn's actually gone through it himself. You can get some resources, games, and handouts. There's like 5 mini units on being a better coach. And I have one of the units entirely dedicated how to get more clients without spending any money to acquire them. So if you're on a shoestring budget and ads are not in the question, then I have tips for how to sell without spending money. So that's prospernutritioncoaching.com/liftoff. That's
perfect. All right. We'll call it there. All right. Thank you very much, Jen.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Beautiful. Let's see.
That was so good.